So, if I've done this before, the volume 2 of last year's Tamaya catalog, I apologize because I don't remember if I did one on this one. And I just want to go through. Hopefully, I can get two more done tonight for videos on these catalogs because I just got my volume 2 recently of this year's. So here we go. This car on the front became very popular. Everybody loved its realisticness and on par with the actual car. And this is when the Evo Hornet came out, which I have, but haven't put together. This chassis, as you see, has F1 or their F102 or 103 rear and front end on it, but it's a tub chassis. This was the first car when they brought it back. The Mercedes was the first one to be on it again in a re-release, and then they did this Porsche 956 re-release many months later. So this is what they think they call the C chassis. For these cars. And then we got the BT01, which people have a problem with, but they put the Porsche body on it, which is ideal because the car was rear-wheel drive in real life. This kit brings back more realism to the actual car. There are things you can do with the BT01 to fix a lot of the slop. I don't know how much slop is reduced, but I think it's more significant than I think I've heard. But I forgot how many people I saw get the Carrera body for it. When it first came out, the BT01, they did the Supra. And it's also realistic because it's a rear-wheel drive car. The Porsche has the engine in the rear, even though it's more mid-engined in this chassis, which you can change from rear to front on this car. And you can also have the motor on the front in the Supra where you have a drive shaft that goes to the differential in the back. I'm hoping they fix the problems with this car because I wouldn't mind still having one of these. Of course, the TT01E, and then they have a mid version of the TT02R chassis, which has some extra parts from just the stock TT02. This Impreza is always a very popular model. And then you got the newer A4 Quattro Touring, which is based on an older Audi. And then you got the race version of the Enos Supra with the present day Supra with, of course, things done to the body that aren't on the which is different than the street version. And then they also did a TT02 with the present day Nissan Z-Car. I think these two, in actuality, I don't know, I think maybe in Japan, I don't know exactly where they race these two vehicles. I think it's Japan. These two race against each other, I think, in the races for the one-to-ones against each other. And then they came out with the street version of the Celica GT4 on the TT02. And I think this Celica is the newer. I think this is the body style after this one. It brought back a more street version of the Honda NSX Racing, of an older gen. It's a painted body, and this is a painted body. You know, I'm not a painter. I would love to have a car that I didn't have to paint, but I still have to worry about the decals, which is also a problem for me. The Opel Kadett, I think it's a good rendition of it. It technically should be like it is, and it's a painted body. At least they put it on an MB-01 chassis, which also has the same problems as the BT-01 as far as slop is concerned, but at least they put it on an actual chassis that fits it, since you can change it from front lower motor position to a upper rear position and a front wheel drive version of it. Like, it gives more realism to that particular car because it was rear wheel drive. Then the opposite for the Citroen. I think this is the 1958 version of the DS. It was ahead of its time for as far as suspension was concerned back when it first came out. And it's an MB-01 chassis. I don't know how true it is. When I heard about this, they said the front tires were actually wider than the ones in the back. I also think the front wheels have a wider track than the wheels in the rear. I'm not quite sure. I don't have the chassis. I wouldn't mind having this chassis anyways. Would love to have these two cars, the Astute, the Super Astute, and the Avante. They still have the black edition Avante 2 available. I think they're still selling these. But the Super Astute, again, is a limited production, and the Avante is still a limited production. I wish they just permanently keep them in their lineup and not make them limited production. I have the Fighting Buggy. That should be taken off the limited edition version and just keep it permanently. Same with the Fast Attack vehicle. I would love to have one of those, even though it's very similar to the Wild one, but it doesn't have the suspension features, and the body, I think, is slightly different. I know the battery area is smaller than it is in under the car and on this chassis version of the Wild one than it is on the Wild one. I don't know why it's not the same area size for the battery as it is in the Wild one. They need to come out with the shark tooth version of this too. There's the Hornet Evo. I can't believe I watched a video on KTRC or KT Films, the Japanese channel guy, and he has his own little track, and it didn't get a faster time around his track than the original Hornet, which perplexed me. This should be overall a much better handling vehicle compared to the original Hornet, the Evo. And the front track is wider than it is in the back on it. I'm not quite sure if it's the same wheelbase as the original Hornet, but I can't believe it handled worse. It does have a bit more understeer on it, and it uses the DT02 of, as we know, gearbox. but its suspension is technically much better than the Hornets. And then at the time, you got the painted body truck, the new truck at the time, the 8x4. I wonder. It has those axles in the back that can be put down and brought up to the chassis, or put down to deal with extra weight. I wish Tamiya would give optional parts to make this a true 8-wheel drive vehicle. I wish they would do that with some of their trucks, or make it 6-wheel drive with their semis. I do like the color on that painted body. I'm always love the grayscale colors, gunmetal and so on. They should have a lot more metal parts for the chassis on it as options, so they can compete and have more, and should bring out bodies that actually have open up doors and stuff on it, like a lot of their competitors do. I mean, they're already expensive as it is, but maybe they should allow those types of things to be options for them. Here's the other semis. Here's their hop-ups. I mean, if you're going to spend this type of money, you might as well get or some sort of MFC or multifunction control unit for it. I mean, they're real scale realistic, and you want all the bells and whistles for them. They should also have more choices for the tires for them. I hear Lasso tires will fit their vehicles, and they have I think different options in tires for the semis for theirs, and they will fit Tamiya's. At this time, the M4 Sherman tank, I don't know if they had this before, but they brought it back if they did. As you see with the tanks. They should also have optional metal tracks for their tanks. I think, as you see, the Avanti Black Special and the Top Force and the Egress are all limited production vehicles, as well as the Manta Ray, which I think they should all stay permanently in their lineup. As well as the Evo of the Top Force should have stayed permanent. And they should still have the permanence for the Black Edition Clodbuster. I wish they would come back out with all the trucks they had after this. I mean, they had a lot of nice monster trucks. They should bring them back. They should reissue them. I'd like to have all of these limited production vehicles. I'm surprised they haven't done more with the BB-01. I wish I had one. I'm surprised they haven't made a new body or other hop-ups. I think personally it should have came stock with a slipper clutch, even though you can buy it, even though the ball diff on it can take a 7700 kV motor in it, which makes this gearbox more robust than you think from them. As you see, they seem to have kept the Hot Shot 2 Blockheads edition and Wild one, but the Hot Shot 2 came with a painted body. I thought the Wild one, when it first came out in the Blockhead Motors garb, it was a painted body already. And here, the Buggy Champ should stay permanently. That's a limited production. They even made the Wild one again a limited production, and I would love to have a Fox. That's a limited production, and they should have kept the Boomerang. That's a limited production. It seems like, at least when they brought back the original Hot Shot 2, it seems to be permanently in the lineup like all the Hot Shot series cars. I mean, you know, the Hot Shot and Hot Shot, Super Hot Shot. I hope they keep the Super Saver. I don't see some limited production of that. This was the Rising Fighter was the cheapest kit that they made on a regular basis. The only thing that came in cheaper than that was this year's Black Edition Grasshopper, but it's a limited edition. That would, A-Main, it was going for $88.20, which I haven't seen prices like that since the 80s and 90s for their kits. The VQS lease stayed. Unfortunately, all the Dragon Series cars seem to be a limited production. I think they've kept the Thundershot. I wish the XR311 would come back out with the Cheetah, which is the Lamborghini version of it. They should come back out with that again, but they haven't. I'm surprised. I guess it has to do with getting rights to have their body on there from Lamborghini. I guess they're going to have to get permission again to do that. I'd like a VQS. I'd like a lot of these buggies I don't have. It seems like they're keeping the TT02BR. I don't see a limited production for this. Of course, it has a bunch of hop-ups over the original TT02B. I would like to have all the DT series cars. I only have the DT01 and a DT02, but I'd like a DT03 and I'd like a DT04 that came out this year. I would like another DT02 that isn't a holiday buggy, too. It looks like they permanently kept this Suzuki or Mitsubishi Pajero permanently in the lineup. And it looks like they got the Black Edition lunchbox that seems to be permanent. I heard they dropped a lot of the GF01 CBs this year, which I thought is a mistake, and the DT2 and the TD2 and the TD4, they were on they had deep discounts, and even though people didn't like them, I assume they wanted to get them to move again with the prices lowering on them from what they originally were. They should have automatically came with the, I don't remember if it came with its own slipper clutch. If it didn't, they should permanently have it on there. But the TD2 was more popular than the TD4. I wouldn't mind having either. So I hope they still, the only DT car they stopped making is the DT01, which they should never have stopped. They should have never stopped making the CC01 either. Of course, they came out with an old, actual particular Bronco style for Baja recently, or last year. I mean, they should have the CC02 and the CC01 at the same time. They still have the TT02 FT and the GF01 FT. They still have the CR01s. I'm surprised they haven't made a CR01 2, which was more of a crawler than their CC02, which is a trail runner. I can't believe the GF02 was a limited edition. They should have kept it in the lineup. They still have the Bruiser and all the high lift trucks. I don't know why they call this, they made a typo here. This is supposed to be the Bruiser, the Toyota Bruiser, but they call it the Toyota Hilux High Lift. When that, look, they changed the names. This one says Bruiser. That should be over here and this over there, that with the naming under it. They typoed this. I would love to have these cars, and I'd love to have the G601 vehicles. I don't recall the rally version of the GTI was four-wheel drive. It should be front-wheel drive. And I don't think the Volkswagen Beetle Rally was four-wheel drive. The only two vehicles on the MF-01X that were actual four-wheel drives are the Jimny and the Mercedes. All the others should be two-wheel drive. They should make a new four-wheel drive car body for the MF-01X, which I'm glad they still have. Oh, but they made a limited edition of the 131 Abarth. They should have kept that body and not made it a limited production. The XM01 Pro, they should get, the only body I think I would buy for that would be the M05 version of the GR Yaris, which is on a front-wheel drive chassis, which really should be on the XM01 Pro chassis because it's four-wheel drive. And that's probably the body I would put on it, the street version that they had. I would like to match bodies to the actual drivetrains of the actual car of the day when they were out. In Britain, these truck racing series vehicles are very popular to race. A lot of people like racing them. Also, the SW01 chassis, I'm surprised, is still here. I don't mind that they keep it. The TA08 Pro chassis kit is a very nice, expensive kit. And the TC01 that year of 24 got a new body for it, which technically the body on it, or the bodies they've had on it, were never four-wheel drive chassis. But it's a nice body, and I think it's easier to paint than the Formula E body that they had on it. And they still seem to kept the TT02 type SRX, which I think this kit is over $200. It's got most of the bells and whistles you can put on a TT02. A lot of people, RC Kick says, why don't they come out with a TT03 by now? Why haven't they done it? They should. Here's another GT4 Celica. I think it looks like the other one, but this is the street version. And then there's the Yaris GR they had a body style of this Yaris with a slightly different body on it that was a rally car, and they came out with this one which has different wheel wells on it, I think. But I don't think it should have been on a TT02 chassis. It should have been on a car where you could change the wheelbase, like the XM chassis. And the Yaris TT02's wheelbase looks too long on the TT02 when you see the MO5 version of the Yaris on it, you can tell it has a shorter wheelbase. I don't recall with the rally cars if they would still have had the same wheelbase, but they should have, and I think they made a mistake there with the body. Even though it's a good looking body, I think they made a mistake on its size. I was happy when they came out with a more modern day Porsche 911 body with the GT3. They shouldn't have stopped making they made this a limited edition, the CLK Mercedes AMG. They made that a limited production. And there's all the other TT02 bodies that go on them. And they still have the drift chassis. I think they should update the drift chassis with a BT01 and give it the steering that you're supposed to have on a drift car. They should change the front end to give it that Ackerman, I think they call it. I could be wrong. Where its tires can move much more outwards in degrees. I don't know. Oh, the MB01. They shouldn't have stopped making the Abarth 1000 TCI Berlina, and they shouldn't have stopped making that Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint in that body style. The MO7 is also an expensive kit. Everybody thought that, there's the Yaris. Its wheelbase is shorter than on the TT02 version of the Rally version. This, with the wheelbase able to be changed on the XM, this is the body I would get for it. And this shouldn't be on this Miata should not be on an MO5 chassis. A lot of people thought they were when the MB01 came out that the MO5 would go away, and I hear it's not. I heard on RC Kicks recently, and he says they're coming back out with the Rally version of it with the nice chrome hard plastic front grille and the decal sheet for that model. I mean, they just came back out with a tamer Mini Cooper body again that everybody loves on the MB01, but it's not as nice as that particular body that they made when the MO1 came out. So I think they've kept the they think they kept, and here's the cheaper version of the MO8. I think there's a pro version of it that's more expensive than this, and there might be a pro version of the MO7 too. So these are the cheaper versions of it. They seem to have dropped the Alpine body again. I'm not sure. We'll see. In the next one I do, I think, like I've always said, and I'll always say it again every time we go through these, I think they need to bring back every M chassis they ever made again, starting with the MO1 to current. I don't know if they ever will do that for re-releases, but I hope they do. Thank you for joining me.